Tuesday, April 22nd, 2014. Call to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Wood. Here. Trustee Oscar Brown.
Here.
Trustee Payton.
Here.
Trustee Griffin.
Present.
Trustee Boudette.
Here.
Trustee Larry Brown.
Here.
Mayor Covington.
Present. Would you please join me in the pledge of allegiance, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, we don't have any minutes at this point. Okay. The minutes will be delayed. Report of officials.
We're not going to minutes, ma'am?
There are no minutes.
No minutes? Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And
Okay, report. I do have a report. And this report is going to take a few minutes because it's going to take me 4 or 5 months since I've made a report, but I'll make it as brief as possible so we can expedite this meeting and handle the business.
1 second.
As the chairman of the Legislative and Operations Committee, I'd like to thank the members of this committee, Trustee Oscar Brown, Trustee Keith Griffin, and Trustee Larry Brown, and their support in getting things moving in this community. Since the formation of this committee, we have discussed and debated issues vital to the community and moved these items to the regular Board of Trustees meeting for passage and progress. Some of the items discussed and passed recently was the reestablishment of the Department of Community Relations, and the purpose is to keep the residents informed of factual information in the community and produce quality newsletters at a lower cost. In July, we talked about the salt ban, and after that, the village had an ordinance put in place, and we moved on and passed that. August, the creation of an ordinance creating a head tax, producing a rounded off figure of about $300,000 in additional revenue that the village never received before. This money collected can be used for necessary improvements in the community. On tonight's agenda, something that was also discussed in the Legislative and Operations Committee is an amnesty ticket program to help the residents with their past due tickets, fines, and etc. And you'll hear more about that as we proceed in our meeting tonight. We've also worked extremely hard with Robinson Engineering through the L&O Committee on school safety zones, new sidewalks by the middle school, safety lights, crosswalks, and more. The bid process for the Technical Resource and Job Training Facility, the I-57 interchange project, widening and improvements of the village roads, a professional agreement with Lauterbach and Amon, making sure that our books are in good order and working with a professional auditing company. And just recently, on April 13th, the governor announced $52.7 million for local improvements, the ITEP grant for the village, and the village will receive $448,760 for new construction of bike paths, multi-use trails from Western to State of Mooney Road, and these paths will be 10 feet wide, walking and bike paths. And those are just some of the few things that have come out of the Legislative and Operations Committee that were passed on to the regular board meeting to let you know that we are working in the best interest of the community, and these are the things that are really getting done. So if you haven't had an opportunity to sit in on one of these committee meetings, I encourage you to come in and participate in the legislative part of your village government. And those meetings are held every first Monday at 6 p.m. here at 90 Town Center. And that will be my legislative report today. Thank you.
any others?
Last year, I'm gonna say last April, early part of May, I went to the county board, a legislative arm of the county board, to apply and to speak on community block development grants. These grants are federally funded grants that help municipalities with certain projects. And it's they fund mostly water projects. However, since we don't own our own system, we went to try to get funds for other projects like sidewalks and other items. And during the testimony, they had certain loopholes that we exploited. And I guess it didn't go over well because we did not get the funding that we were looking to get. And I had asked the, one of the committee members what was the issue. And they told me that request was too broad. And again, this request was made in the wake of Hurricane Ike that affected, President Obama had declared Will County a disaster area from that storm. And we decided this year, since we had a very short window to prepare ourselves for the next funding year. And at this time, I want to have, Val Williams come up and just speak briefly, if I could, Mayor, just on what it is that we need to do as a town to get this, to get the funding we need.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good to see everyone, and I hope everyone had a fabulous Easter. What I want to speak on is the CDBG program. It's defined as a community development block grant. It's a block of money that comes from the federal government and is issued to entitlement applicants, including Will County. Now, in 2000, the census reads a certain way. Most of us were doing very, very well in 2000. University Park was one of the premier communities in the region. But 2008 happened, and a lot of us had to struggle during that time. Now, unfortunately, the 2010 census does not reflect what the poverty and the low income rates may be right now. It's temporary, but it doesn't reflect that. We had hoped that the 2010 census that reflects the poverty rates and the low income rates would be available by 2013. But I fear that we will not see those numbers until after the election. That just makes sense. So now what do? What the CDBG program has advised, that it would even be better to do it this way as far as getting credit or showing that you qualify, is a door-to-door survey. I have that information. I think that Jonna has it, this door-to-door survey information, how to go about that. And it's just what it is. You literally have to knock door-to-door, ask people personal information about their finances. Yeah, it's just like the census. You have to do it that way. And it has to be a 95% return. There's also an option to mail out the door-to-door survey, so to speak, to receive that information. Unfortunately, when you mail, you only get about a 3/4% return. But I think what the proposal here is tonight is to consider maybe taking this next year to try to gather data of what the residents have really felt as an impact in 2008. Taking this year to find out what the actual income rates are. These income rates, these status, this particular information will last for 10 years. So it's just something that you may want to consider. Now, as far as eligible projects are concerned, we will fight for the streets and the curbs and the gutters and all of those things. We will fight for them because it still has an impact on drainage. It still has an impact on where it puddles. So we're going to fight for that, but this is your best mechanism to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Val. And all of your team from the engineering department. Appreciate you guys. You guys, I can't wait for I know you got some stuff that you want to talk about, let us know about it. I'll wait for you guys to make those announcements. You know, we got the trustee, you guys have mentioned the sidewalk. I believe it.
RTA,
The RTA.
yeah, we'll explain that.
Yeah.
ITAP, you just received ITAP.
Right.
You guys are doing extremely, we have very few communities in your category that are getting funded this way, so we're very pleased.
Yeah. And thanks, I appreciate you guys.
Any others?
I have an announcement. I just want to say here now publicly, to me, Val makes a good speech, but she pretty much stays in the background, doesn't say much. But I want to publicly say, Val, thank you, and Ernest, thank you. Since being here since 2009, the previous previous mayor gave all of us projects. My project was road, bridges, whatever. You two have made me look beautiful. You have made me look good. Because the other company that we had laid down on all the projects didn't follow through. The 2.5 or 3 years you've been here, you all have done a fantastic job. And I appreciate it. I thank you so much. He was talking about that. I knew last week that we got the $448,760 for the ITAP grant. And that was because of Val and Ernest, and I appreciate that. I would be remiss if the city would not say nothing. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Just to let the residents know, thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes. I became privy to some more information that we were able to get the last right-of-way from Applied System. So we have the last right-of-way, so we complete now, so our project can fully go through. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lanier, for your work, and thank you, Val and Ernest, for your hard work. I appreciate you so much, I really do. For those who don't know, the road that's got Governor State from Crawford to the metro station, it's such disrepair, it's such damage, it's going to be fixed before the holiday, in May. So that's coming too. And that's because of Val and Ernest. Again, thank you so much, I appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, Board, President. I think you guys pretty much said what we're working on right now, the road projects, regrinding and surfacing the University Parkway from Crawford to right east of the railroad tracks. We hope to have the project done by Memorial Day. We spent a lot of time over the last few weeks working on the budget. We do have a balanced budget to present to you later on tonight. And of course, we've been preparing, spent a lot of time preparing for the National Shopping Centers Convention. That concludes my report.
Any questions? My report is Southsburg Mayor Managers. I'm very happy Val for meeting with me at Governor State University with RTA, and they just sent me money to say that we're eligible for funds too as well. That's great. And I had a meeting with, I'm on the committee with Will County, with Larry Walsh on the CDGA Advisory Committee, and they were granting quite a bit, which I told you some things that we could do to better our proposal with them to get funding. At the Southsburg Mayor Managers, there was a motion affirmative of the current policies opposing and amending to create a new license on the City of Chicago. Legislation must include locations of the south and south suburbs. Thursday night there was a meeting as well, and we had a meeting with the staff from the Governor Quinn's office to state that we cannot be ignored. We will demand fundings and some type of grants. We want a line item for summer programs for our children. We got some last year. I was able to bring in 36 children for employment last year, which was great. And we're looking for more of a line item, not just a grant again. And also, I would like to thank Pace Bus, Jessica, for the shelters that I asked for them to redo because they were not compliant and ADA compliant. So last year in 2012, we received for 11 shelters at 934. The revenue that came in was a little over $10,000. 2013, the shelters brought us in $13,000, and a check was mailed yesterday for $14,120. So I'm hoping that if we have a line item on that, on our budget, then we would keep that so we can start the bus services and we can have money and fundings in there so we can have the buses as well. And once the buses start, they're going to give us I've asked for 3 additional shelters, one on Cicero, one on Western, and one here for Rosedale area. So that's a big kudos for us as well. I thank the Legislative Committee for what they're doing. Some of the things they do, we talk about the board meeting, and then it goes back to them, and they make recommendations for us, and that's the purpose of them, and I appreciate what they're doing. I oftentimes send in, I always email on our website to the library and other areas of the village job announcements, which I have some more tonight. and people are looking for employment, it's always there. Please always visit our website for different positions. And I'm happy to announce that, seeing that it's on the board agenda tonight, we will possibly be using this area, another revenue generator, to bring in for courts, night courts, and also there's another generator here for jobs. We're happy to see that the Will County workforce developers are bringing their trailer back, and starting May 6th, there will be a trailer with computers and everything in there already set up for anyone that's wanting to build their resumes, looking for a job readiness. So don't forget Tuesdays, I think it starts at 10 o'clock, and they will be at the Village Hall area, and they will be there every Tuesday. If anyone is looking for a job, leaving a resume, any type of skill sets, they can be there for you and your assistance. Also, our Rotary Club here, I was talking to State Representative, he was at the Southburg Mayor Managers meeting as well, and he will be here at University Park at our Rotary Club meeting Thursday, April 24th, 12:15 to 1, University Park Golf Center. So please go out and support our representatives. And that's all I have to report. Proclamation of the clerk. I'm going to ask our clerk to read that for us, please, if she can. And before you read that, please, we would like to say a prayer for our clerk, and she's out today. So we wish her well. Okay.
Proclamation, Municipal Clerks Week, May 4th through May 10th, 2014. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their, I'm so nervous, I'm sorry. Y'all gotta forgive me. This is unprepared for me. Okay. Municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the municipal clerks serve as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas municipal clerks continuously strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk throughout participation in education, programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meeting of their state, Providence, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas in its most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of municipal clerks. Now, therefore, I, Vivian E. Covington, Mayor of the Village of University Park, do recognize the week of May 4th through May 10th, 2014 as Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, Dorothy R. Jones, and to all municipal clerks for the vital service they perform and their extraordinary dedication to the community they represent.
So moved. Just proclamation, I'm sorry. Thank you. Committee Commission report. I'm sorry, we don't have it. Apologize for that. For those of you that were not here, we no longer have committees right now. We have commissions. We have a few committees and they need report. Report of other officers.
Wow, no one has the mic over there?
evening, Mayor, Board,
Good evening.
community. I just wanted to let the community know that we will be, because of a lot of complaints we've gotten, we'll be stringently enforcing dog ordinances. We've gotten a lot of complaints from the citizens about dogs, people letting their dogs out in the morning to do their business or whatever. And kids are being chased, waiting for school buses and different things like that. So we ask everyone to please have your dog on a leash. If you're walking them, follow the dog ordinances because we'll be enforcing those ordinances. Also, we'll be having a neighborhood meetings. We understand we have 18 different community organizations out here. We'll be meeting with one of them weekly. Russet Oaks and White Oaks, we're asking them to come out and meet with us here at 6 p.m. Thursday. Try to meet and hear their concerns and discuss ideas with them and form a partnership with the police department. We had an incident this week in that area over there, Russet Oaks and White Oaks. We had a young man walking around with a rifle, and none of the adults over there called the police. Nobody called 911. The kids, when they got off the school bus, that's where he was, at their stop when they got off the bus. And the children started calling the police station and telling us the description of the person over there. When we got over there and located the young man, he was laying prone in the field over there with his rifle. And by the grace of God, we took him into custody without anything happening. But it was amazing to us that none of the adults in that area called us. I asked the kids, because I had them on the phone, take it out. If any adults were over there, they said they were, yeah, there's adults driving by. But nobody was calling 911, nobody was calling the police or anything. So we're asking the adults and the citizens to take, you can call us anonymous, okay? You don't have to give your name. When we're asking you, if you see something, please call. When we finally took the guy into custody, this is what he had right here, okay? Now that is an air rifle. But anybody, a police officer or yourself or anybody else that will get up on this guy, before you get up on him, what would you think this is? We have it broken down here and everything. But somebody in the community should have been calling the police. This guy's just walking around the community, and the kids, when they got off the bus, they gave us a call. And we were able to go over there and get them without, shots being fired or going to another degree. That could have easily happened. So we're asking you all to, you have to, a certain part, really to be blunt about it, that the citizens have to take too. People come and complain and everything, and we don't mind because we know that's part of our job, and we're not asking for pity or anything. We're just asking people. I don't think, people saw them, they were driving by, the children saw that. We saw it too when we got over there. But that could easily have been a very unfortunate situation. So again, we ask the Russet Oaks and White Oaks to meet us over here at 6 p.m. Thursday, and we'll be meeting with other neighborhoods as the summer goes by. We're trying to get ready for summer, get people in the mindset that summer's coming, and hopefully it'll be a long, nice summer for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else? Wow. Okay,
Mayor, that's all right, Mayor.
Wow.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board of Trustee members. Thank you, residents. I just wanted to actually give my time to Sandra Hurd. Sandra, did you have anything from the Finance Committee that you wanted to say? I wanted to.
Yes, committee?
Yes, I was getting ready to ask, was there not the Finance Committee still in place?
Yes, just a few.
All right, well, the Finance Committee did review the budget. We got a preliminary copy initially, and it was after the hearing, a workshop. I'm not sure what actually occurred at that time because I wasn't able to attend. But we reviewed the preliminary copy, and then we got the final copy at the meeting. And basically, the review revealed that it was basically increases to the budget. I had heard a couple of the trustees say that there would be decreases or reductions, but it didn't reveal to be that overall. The obvious goal, I believe, should be village manager and the board members that we can get that achieved. I don't know what is actually reflected in the package that you have, but if you compare it to last year, it'll probably show an increase from what it was last year. I know that we are continuing to operate in a deficit, so we did, as a committee, make some suggestions of areas where we could see some reductions. Again, if this is being presented to you to approve tonight, you wouldn't have had the advantage of knowing what those suggestions were, so I'm just going to just say briefly, of course, salaries is usually the highest portion of all budgets, and that's like, I think 60% or so is what Mr. Jones said of the budget. So of course that would have to be one area that needs to be looked at. I don't know how it could be done, but I would say if the village manager doesn't get input from his directors, then it would be his job to make some suggestions in that area. Benefits, health insurance, of course the cost is really high, and we suggested maybe looking at other options for that. Legal fees is another one, and I don't know if there's just not controls in that area or if duplication is being done, but that's an area that it keeps growing. The golf course. It, again, is a enterprise area. It should actually be, supporting itself. Maybe some suggestions for closing in wintertime. But anyway, I think that we know that we have a deficit. With the audits getting completed, what we're looking at is even getting a better picture of how much of a deficit that we're operating. But for sure, we have to try to start making some changes to see that, increasing revenue is obviously one thing, but also we're going to have to see some cuts. Is there anything else?
Thank you. Any others? Okay.
Mayor, got something to say.
Yep.
I wish, Madam Mayor, trustees, other staff members of the audience and public, I would like to reiterate the importance and actually the danger of the problem that Chief Bradley spoke about a few minutes ago in reference to our pets. When they're in our homes, when we play with them, when we care for them, they're wonderful animals, and it's a wonderful situation to be a pet owner. We get a lot of joy from that. But if we're not responsible, that loving, wonderful pet that we have can be to a 5 or 8-year-old a monster. We have to be very careful that the pet we take care of is not a danger to our next door neighbors or to other children or people out in the community. It is vitally important that we not just open our doors and let them go out thinking, oh, they're harmless at home, so they won't bother anyone else. That's just not the case. Secondly, in the absence of Ms. Keeley Childress or Director Childress, I'd like to announce that it is my understanding that our 4th and 5th grade, third and fourth grade, I'm sorry, should you be saying this? Yeah. Our third and fourth grade basketball team went to a regional tournament.
That's right, Saturday.
At the South Suburban Youth Basketball League, and sort of kicked fanny and won the championship. Yeah. We are very proud of it. That reflects a lot of work, a lot of teamwork, a lot of discipline from not only the players, but the coaches and other volunteers and parents who were involved. And we should be, I am very proud of them. And I think I'm very appreciative of the applause that they received.
You just stole his thunder.
And I like to say that the third and fourth grade,
I'd like to personally thank Mayor Covington, Trustee Payton for showing up at the game. The kids were very fired up. It was a circumstance that they got into that situation to play in the championship. Another town that I won't say played 5th and 6th grade, a 5th grader, and they got busted. So our team ended up in the championship, and it was a nice, very nice crowd. I want to thank the village residents for showing up. We were there deep, so I appreciate that a great deal. I'd like to give kudos to our coaches, L.C. Williams and Nick Simmons, for the fabulous job they did with our kids, and the other coaches as well, the 7th and 8th grade level, and the Tiny Tots also took first place. Another thing, we had a trout tournament 2 weeks ago that turned out to be fabulous. We ended up, the goal was to get 25 to 30 contestants. We ended up with 21, 24 signed up. The results will be in a village newspaper. Also, thank you, Trustee Griffin, Trustee Williams, and Mayor Covington for being there. And a special thank you to Trustee Rudess for all his help with the fish, getting the fish here from the state. The guy who won ended up catching 3 fish that were 10.7 pounds. So he caught some monsters in there. But nobody seemed to catch Moby Dick. We have a golden trout in there, and he's about 5 pounds, and nobody's catching him yet. So I got a couple guys out there hunting him now. So I'd like to thank you guys again for participating in that, and that'll be a yearly tournament coming up. Also, I'd like to make a statement about our kids' workout center. We have a kids' workout center there, Diamond in the Rough, that I want to basically show our kids it's more than just basketball, football, baseball. There's other ways to stay fit. And I challenge the village residents to come out and just come and take a look at it and get your kids involved this summer. We have good trainers there. I'll be there as well. And we'll teach the kids a 60-minute workout plan where we teach the obesity, how to diet, and everything else. So that'll be coming out in May. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? This time, Mr. Ernest, could you come and give us a status and report on the project, please?
Good evening, Mayor Covington, to the Village Board of Trustees, to the residents. We've been real busy, as already has been stated earlier, regarding some of the rolling projects. I'll just kind of go down the line, try to be brief. University Park is in the middle of a lot of activity at this point. First of all, with the ITEP program, that award, which the letter was dated April 14th, and then I emailed the mayor and the board of trustees and the department heads about that. We're very excited about that award. That bike trail that's out there, the existing one, is in dire need of repair. I believe right now it's about a 4-foot path. It's very narrow. The standard path that IDOT has is 10 feet, and it'll accommodate bikes as well as pedestrians. And that's a pretty long stretch from Western to the State Maloney Road. We're processing agreements. We're having a kickoff meeting next week with IDOT to begin that process. And we're very excited about that. So that's 80-20 funding. And I believe it's only like, I want to say a dozen communities that got funded for that. So University Park, I'm happy to say this.
Within the whole state.
Right. Right. So I believe it was a very competitive program. 232 project applications requesting over $260 million. And so we were very happy to receive notice of that. So I'm happy to say that Robinson Engineering was, I think we had several awards, right, Val, for that, for the ITEP. Several communities that we represent was also funded as well. So we're very, very pleased with that. So we're beginning that process now. The other grant that
we're in the process. We had a webinar this past couple days ago with RTA, Mayor Covington, and the RTA. There was a meeting that took place at Governor State University. And at that meeting, University Park, Blue Island, Midlothian, and Tinley Park were some of the communities that were considered for eligibility. We are going to work with the village to come up with a project-specific area to address pedestrian accommodations to existing RTA bus routes. And this is an opportunity to get a lot of the sidewalk and the pedestrian features within the residential areas completed. I know there was talk about the CDBG program, but this is an opportunity now for us to get that funding. And the good thing about this is it's $1 million worth of funding. So as of November this year, once we submit the phase 1 engineering on that, and that project is eligible, it'll be funded at 100% up to $1 million. So that's CMAP funding as well as RTA. So we'll be working with the village and some of the projects, possibilities of sidewalk connections, bus shelters, enhanced crosswalks, addition to pedestrian signals, and bicycle parking. So we'll be working with the village to obtain a project area. We will be proceeding with phase 1 engineering, and we will be submitting to the RTA in November, and eligibility from that will come out sometime shortly thereafter, so let's say next month or two after that. So that's very exciting, and again, that was another competitive program, and University Park was one of the finalists for that as well.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. The Village University Park, the Parkway project is on schedule at this point. We've been attending utility coordination meetings for the interchange portion. There are several contracts with this, with I-57 and Stucco Road. The low bidder was K5 Construction, and that project is $29 million. And that's going from Ridgeland Avenue to just east of Central. And that's full reconstruction, full diamond interchange access, and all the other amenities to that. That project is ongoing, and we're looking at a completion date of sometime in mid-2015 for that. So that project is moving forward. The FY 2014 construction schedule for stage 1 portion is scheduled for letting for June 13th of this year. And I believe we should have all those right-of-ways. The plans are already down in Springfield, and once we have the right-of-way requirements, we will be going to bid on that project, and we're looking at an August start date for that project. So this is the big 20-year project that's been kind of stuck in the mud, if you will. 1996. Yeah, I believe that the project started in 1996, and but we're happy to say that that is finally coming to pass. And we also was able to receive another $104,000 from on the state side to take care of the intersection of Cicero Avenue. So that will also bring down the village's match as well. So that just came in about a week ago.
Thank you.
So stage 3, as was mentioned earlier, from the metro station to Crawford Avenue, that's a $4 million project. The federal portion of that is $3.2 million, and we're looking next week to have Will County contribute $400,000 to the remaining $800,000 that's left on the local match. And again, that will take care of the area from the Governor State and the golf course. And as you know, that particular area is in very bad shape. We did submit to IDOT a reimbursement of about $95,000 that should be coming back to the village that we're going to apply for the temporary repairs of University Parkway in that area. And we're looking to have that done before Memorial Day weekend. Right now, the asphalt plants are open. We will be having a detour. We'll be talking to the village about that. I'll be sending letters out. We're hoping to have that road done within a day or two. And I will give advance notice once we have a date that we can proceed. But we're looking forward to that road is in really bad shape, and it needs to be addressed. So that's temporary repairs, and we're looking for that particular stage to be fully reconstructed and ready to go to bid sometime in the spring of 2015. So you're looking at altogether 3 separate projects that are already ongoing and will be going concurrently. And that's a very, very good thing for the village. So we're happy to be a part of that. And anybody has any questions about that, you can always call my office and, you know, when we can respond. So that's what I have at this point.
Ernest, thank you. And the question is the last thing, you were at the meeting with us, I'm on the Transportation Committee for Southsburg Mayor Managers. And we were happy to, Ernest worked very, very hard for us to get the match. Originally it was 50%. We went to 60, then we went to 90. So now we only are paying 10% of that. The committee, we all approved it. We're really happy about that, and thank you for your presence and your contributions in that as well. And thank you for all the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you. And I just want to say on that, it's very interesting because obviously we had to work with SSMMA to bring those fundings for the multi-year plan into this fiscal year. And there's a lot of other priorities that they had. But I guess our issue was that the Parkway is not just a University Park issue, it's a regional issue. And it impacts with the Ilion Expressway coming, with the third airport coming. There's a lot of activity here. And it's in everyone's best interest to make sure that that roadway is there. And we're looking forward to hopefully more development, more traffic through there. And it was really, we had to make the case, but we're happy that everything worked out. And we're working diligently toward getting those things done. So
thank you. Stephen has a question.
Ernest, could you contact me later about the RTA piece? I wasn't able to make that meeting because of my background, but I do have some information for you.
Sure.
For the future.
Sure, that's okay. Yeah.
And I'll send you an email they sent as well. Okay.
Ernest, I was just wondering, listen to you tell us all these nice things that's happening in the Mayor, I'm very nice. And all the roads in Indiana and all the rest of these people come, all of these people are going to be coming, what's with the overpay? Don't you think we need it? Don't you think we should be working hard to get it?
Well, let me address that. We did send a letter to District 1 engineers to have them take a look at it. I haven't gotten a formal response yet, but I will tell you that the difficulty of that is a couple of issues. Number one, Governor's Highway, both north and south legs, are owned by IDOT. And back in 2010, the issue with the intersection, and by the way, I forgot to mention that, we are looking to try to do safety funding at the railroad. The original plan was to fully signalize that intersection, to widen it, and to provide channelization there. The issue right now is the cars being trapped possibly on the railroad. And so in 2010, IDOT did approve the intersection design study for the channelization, full channelization and widening of Governor's Highway and University Park. So we really don't have any jurisdiction right now. It's really up to IDOT, and at this point, based on the accidents and based on the traffic volumes, overpasses are very expensive, and IDOT would have to contribute a lot of money, multiple millions of dollars to do that. And what I'm getting back, the feedback that I'm getting back is right now is the plan that was in place in 2010 is currently the plan that they want to move forward with. We did petition them, and we did ask them to look at it to see if it was feasible. And their response again was that once we have the signals there, interconnected with the railroad, that would help traffic to progress through the intersection and decrease delays through there. So right now, currently, that is the plan. And I did go back to SSMMA and ask them, is there any funding for an overpass or what they call a grade separation at that intersection? And did it go, what kind of funding was there? And to my knowledge, there was no funding, and I went back at least a good 10 years. And so at this point, it was tough enough for us to get the funding on the other stages because of the lateness of the project. So at this point, that's what IDOT is recommending. If I hear anything else, we did put that, like I said, we did write the letter to the district engineer to actually take a look at it, and their staff has let me know that at this point they want to continue with the signalized intersection. They will require ICC coordination, but I will say it will be 100% improvement with the four-way flashing stop right now, which is really the problem at the intersection. is delays. So what we want to do is people coming out of the metro line, we want to make sure that they have full progression, green time to cross the intersection, and so that people are not trapped on the railroad. Also with preemption, when the flashers come down, the train signals come down, basically the bottom line is that'll allow the east-west movement for the traffic to get through so that nobody will be trapped. That's what you want. It's a safety issue now. And a grade separation, we've done a few of them in some of the other towns. They last at least 20, 25 years, and they cost upwards of $30 million. It's a lot of coordination. It can be done, but right now we have a safety problem at that intersection now, and this is what IDOT has put forward. So if I hear anything else, I definitely will let you know. So,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much again. Trans report?
I'll report you in a minute.
Parker, updates? General Republican, have any comments? Ms. Doris Warren, partner.
I just, because I'm, you're looking at numbers, I just wanted you to have something to look at so you know what I was talking about. I didn't know there were going to be this many people. I only bought 7 copies. I'm sorry. Now I'll start.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Doris Harmon Warren. Good evening. I actually live in Crete. I'm a Crete resident.
But before you begin, our public speaking session with the public is we do limit the speeches and conversations to 3 minutes per person and 30 minutes in whole. If you have more material, then of course you can give it to us and people will look at it. But we are going to ask people to limit themselves to 3 minutes.
I speak fast.
Okay.
When I have spoken to several bodies now.
Yep.
Normally what happens is they ask me questions and it takes more than 3 minutes. I don't know if that's going to happen tonight, but
Go ahead.
I'll get started. If you can, on the front page of this, it says, what would you do? And if you go to the second page, it'll say deconstructing your tax bill. What I did is I looked at tax bills, I took one from each community, one from Crete, one from Moni, and one from University Park. As you can see, I then ranked who actually takes the most taxes. And immediately, CM21U. We all know it's the school district. In your particular area, it represents about 52%. In my area, it's more like 65%. Moni is reflective of Crete. A difference between you and us, or at least in Crete, your village takes about 32%. In mine, it's only about 13%. So if you look down, you can see the different taxing bodies, and you can see this particular person in the 2012 year paid about $4,500 in tax, and the rate was 13.88 total. If you go to the next page, it is a 5-year assessment, review that I took off the Will County site. They started out with a total tax in 2009 of about $6,067. By the time you come to 2013, which they really just put out last week, it's $43,3884. That tax for your property value has fallen. Your property values for this particular property fell about 35% in that time period, and the tax went down 28%. To give you some comparison, I actually did my own house for free because that seemed easy. My actual property values fell about, I think it was like 30%, but my tax went up 11%. So in Crete and Moni, our taxes are going up, but because of the property values here, they're going down. If you look at that 52% that's represented by the schools, you can see that it actually affects even what you were talking about today with your budget issues. As long as you have such a high amount of money being spent at the schools, it's going to affect every taxing body that's affected by the school district. And if you go to the last page, it's a kind of a what is a school board direction. And I've been following the $21 million that they received as as a windfall related to a grant that they had applied for when they built the high schools. And what the school board on the finance committee at their most recent meeting has recommended is that they expand classroom space in both Mooney and University Park. The University Park expansion, and you may or may not know that, is to move the 6th grade students over to the middle school. They're going to spend $1 to $2 million on additional projects around the district. They're going to leave all existing buildings in Crete as is. They're not even going to close the 6th grade center. They're going to seek a referendum for Crete, which I can tell you that is not going to pass in any of the district. I don't see that on any level. They have projected annual losses on their budget for, that when they do the audited statements, sometimes they're a little up, mostly they're down. And all of the life safety issues in the various buildings, Crete has 4 million, Crete Elementary. We will have to pay for those whether or not they actually get a referendum, because we're required to.
3 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Senator Warren.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees, all those assembled. First, what I came prepared to talk about, I have to ask the police chief one more time about the police blotter. Regarding that incident that you showed us the rifle for, it's after the fact if it were put in the police blotter, but at least we would know about it, and we would know about the break-ins and other things that happen in the village, and I would encourage you to do so. The other thing I wanted to ask about are the number of empty, vacant, or foreclosed homes. Do you have that information, Mr. Lemire? Is it in code enforcement, or where could I get that information?
You get from code enforcement.
Code enforcement. And what do they do in terms of monitoring the empty, vacant homes?
We monitor them, as says vandalism, we board them up. And we maintain the lawns.
Board them up. Okay. Well, as this lady was talking about in taxes, we do pay a lot of taxes here, and I'm concerned about the property value. So, foreclosures and empty homes and vacant homes have impact on if I can sell my house to leave town. So, do what you can, and the village is looking cleaner. I know Mrs. Clean is here, and I wanted to say I've seen the street sweepers, and the streets look very clean, but I am concerned about the number of vacant homes we have, and I will pursue that. Thank you very much.
Ms. Christine Morgan.
Good evening, my name is Mildred Morgan. Just have a couple of quick things I'd like to discuss. It's springtime. We need to do some spring cleaning. There's lots of paper, plastic bags blown into the trees and things. Public Works is doing a wonderful job trying to get up as much garbage and debris and bottles and bags and things, but more is needed. Also, I like doing landscaping. I like trimming trees, planting flowers. If you need me, my number is 534-5935, free of charge, only because I'm interested in the appearance of our village. I like to shape your shrubs and things, grab the kids, have them, that we have too many children in this village for our village to look this way. So I wish that everyone in University Park can just get your children and have them to pick up the paper and debris, bottles and things, and go ahead and put it in the garbage can so that our village don't look so bad. We have to maintain pride in our community because it continues to look bad. Mr. Lanier, with the head tax that we have on the businesses over there, as we accumulate, because I was watching another meeting last meeting, 50% is going into a special fund, and 50% is going into general funds. I wonder, as we accumulate money, because so much is needed for vehicles, for police, and also for public works, trucks, things of that nature. I wonder, can we go ahead and purchase? If we save up about 80, 90,000, isn't that enough to go ahead and purchase a vehicle?
That's certainly enough, because you may recall that the 50% is going into the special purpose fund was for the purpose of the board to have discretion over how those monies are allocated.
Okay, and the reason why I'm asking that is because I'm deeply disturbed, as well as others in this village. You have monies to go on trips. Everybody's going to Vegas. Everybody. And I think it's a shame that everybody's going to Vegas. I wonder, why? Why is everybody going to Vegas? Mr. Lanier, also Mr. Trustee Griffin, have been successful in going out, getting businesses, bringing a business here. Why is everyone else going to Vegas? When you do that, I've calculated and estimated about $7,000. $7,000 that it takes to send all of you guys to Vegas. We're talking about airfare, hotel accommodations, and then of course, spending money. Well, when you get back from Vegas, we're asking that you give us a report. We want to know what you're doing in Vegas, who you're talking to. We don't want everything that goes on in Vegas stay in Vegas. So give us a report so that we can know what you're doing. Because it doesn't take all of you all to go to Vegas to bring in businesses. When you bring those businesses in, how do we maintain it? We have no equipment. Okay, if we have no equipment, if we have no police cars, how do we maintain the businesses that you're trying to bring? Don't understand it. So get the report. I need it myself when you get back. Thank you.
Somebody said early registration, put their name on it, Shirley, I guess. Sandra, you gave yours.
No,
one another.
It's public.
Okay.
Okay, my name is Sandra Hurd. I'm the assessor from Maloney Township and resident of University Park. I just wanted to first say I appreciate the good news of knowing that the audits are being worked on. I think that's something that we've all been awaiting, and everybody's going to be happy when that gets done. So I thank you all. Congratulations for getting that pushed forward. Again, I want to talk about the budget. Some of the areas, again, I want to repeat that we, as a finance committee, did mention those salaries. However, y'all need to do that. Benefits, health insurance especially, was a high cost of legal fees. Again, however, that needs to be done. The golf course, and it's the fact that it's, still owes general fund money, that it's not being paid either. And then I forgot to mention overtime for both fire and police. Those seem to be the biggest areas, and I would say that would be the first place I would look to try to see some cuts. But I just wonder if the budget is going to be passed tonight without any cuts shown in it, because that's what I see so far. We do have a management form of government, and yes, we are looking for a village manager to do the job of managing the village. We look for budget and finance management, for personnel, business growth, TIF management, getting the audits complete. Again, I said thank you for that, and various other tasks. But we need to know that the village managers got the freedom to do that. I've heard some other things saying that they don't necessarily have the freedom to do his job. I really would like to be able to know that he does have the freedom to do his job. I am encouraging the board members and staff employees to continue to think of the village as a whole and how we can do our part, everybody, to lift up this community. Many of us are not residents of University Park, but still, I'd like to have you think of the village and the outcome of how the result affect the village and whatever you do, because the residents will feel it, and now and in the future. And I just wanted to make one announcement. We do have a workshop at the assessor's office on May 22nd from 5:30 to 6:30. You can please give a call at 708-534-6023. Again, that's 708-534-6023. This particular meeting, we will be discussing the tax bill, as a lady I was talking about, and we would like for you to RSVP so we can know the capacity to expect, and there will be refreshments.
Marilyn Clark, thank you very much, Marilyn Crockett.
My name is Marilyn Crockett, and I'd like to thank Mayor Covington and the board and the residents that are here. I just have a few questions, but one of them was really answered by the gentleman already. But I wanted to know, what is the status of Cityscape? Because I know it's been 5 or 6 months ago, Mayor Covington said that someone had bought it, but nothing has been done, or I see it's being done, except it's getting more and more run down. More doors missing off the garages, more windows broken, and it's really downgrading our town. So something needs to be done. Also, my second question was dealing with the exercise facility and wondering when, in fact, that was going to open, but it is open, you said.
To the public?
Yes.
Just for kids?
For kids only.
Oh, it's kids only?
Yes, ma'am.
No seniors?
No, it's a height limit of 5'11", isn't it?
The equipment is designed for women as well. It's a height and weight thing. So the plans for the Kids Health Club was going to include programs for senior citizens during the day when the kids were in school too. So that was part of it. So reason why it's not finished. Travis and I are going to get together and finish the plans for it so that we can go out and get the bids for the final pieces. But it got too cold to stand in that building to go through everything. And then, I came out with my back problem, so I've been on commission for a couple of months here. So, but hopefully we'll get back on it and get the center. It's all studied out, most electrical is in, the plumbing's been done, and so forth. Right.
So it is open or it is not?
No, there is. 34 Town Center is open. It has always been open. The kids have been using that for after-school programs. This is another one where, what was this? Cleo's liquor store used to be, which is where the final Kids Health Club will be. But right over here at 34 is where he was referring to. That is active now. Right.
Oh, has it been publicized in the village that it's open
to the public?
Because
it's just.
He's talking.
Excuse me.
Okay. Thank you. I've opened it just for the kids so far because we are limited space in there basically. This was my first program actually opening it in May. Pretty much for the adults right now, all I have is a Stairmaster and a couple of treadmills. So you'll be more than welcome if the mayor allows me. I'll sit and talk with the mayor and the trustees and see what kind of programs I can do. I'm kind of limited with the space in there right now. That's why I was more or less concentrating on the kids. So give me a few days, about a week, and I'll have an answer for you. Is that fair enough? Can I get your number?
And the other question I had was for the road repairs are badly needed on Drowley Road. and the western portion of Hickok, where I live, down to where the township takes care of the road, there are some huge potholes. And we that live on that end of town use that road as an egress from the village and getting over to Cicero and Governor's Highway. So I would appreciate, because we pay taxes too, that if, you know, our road over that way could be repaired.
Mr. Lanier, could you quickly, because I know our time is up, respond on cityscape?
We haven't had any activity on Cityscape for the last couple of months. We do know that there were a lot of interested buyers. One buyer was actually putting together plans to convert it to an apartment building. I think because the winter has just ended and the construction season hasn't gotten out of the way, they haven't had any activity lately, but we do look forward to seeing something up and over there soon.
I thought it was told that somebody had bought it.
There's been rumors. I haven't seen it. We haven't done the transfer tax. There's several companies that I had either one had bought the back taxes, another one had bought the interest in it. So there has been a lot of speculation.
Oh, but I got that information from our mayor, that it had been bought.
That's Mr. Lanier related to me as well. So, we'll clear that up there, Mr. Lanier. Cynthia Hudson, please.
Like you said.
David.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Hudson. Good evening, Mayor Coveney, Board of Trustees, residents. Just want to give you an update on our Boy Scouts and our Cub Scouts. They're doing very well. They're participating in different activities and events. They participated in the Pinewood Derby. That was where they had to make the box cars, and it was held in Homewood at the Chevy car dealer place. And they had a great time racing their cars against all the other scouts and watching their cars win. They also participated in the Potawatomi hike at the Indiana Dunes, where they walked an 8-mile hike. And then there's this great big hill that they like to go up there. Well, actually, there's a lot of hills that they like to go up and down. And each scout earned a patch as well. We also have some of our scouts are doing great things. We have one of our scouts, he will be our first Eagle Scout in University Park. He's working very hard on his Eagle project. So this year we will have an Eagle Scout. We also have one of our new Boy Scouts. He went to a 3 Fires Merit Badge University where he earned 2 complete merit badges and 2 partials. And he's working very hard too, because he'll probably be our next Eagle Scout. I also wanted to just say, you know, to the residents, as far as the school board meeting goes, we really need to start attending these meetings and representing our kids and our community. This is the only way our kids can have a voice and be heard by the superintendent and the school board. When you go to these meetings, you have people from other communities, and we have a school board. They're not pleased that this school board is in place because it's mostly African American, and they would like to see them gone. So they're trying to nitpick and they're trying everything they can to come at this board. Some of the things, this board is doing the same thing that every board has done in the past. They've never questioned anything in the past, but now everything seems to be a problem and a question. I also would like for you to listen to your students and hear their concerns and bring them to the school board. You know, and if you have concerns, bring them to the school board. One of my concerns is as far as grading curriculum. Some of our kids are attending the Kankakee Career Center. These kids are doing very hard work. They're getting both college credit and high school credit attending these classes. These classes are being graded as a regular course. It's not being graded as an AP course. I have a problem with that. If they're doing this hard work or earning college credit, they should be getting the grade point and they should be graded on the scale as such. I also would like to say something about the bus stops as well. That's a concern of mine because I'm out there every day with the kids at the bus stops. Residents who own dogs, please be considerate of the students that's out there as well as the adults that's at the bus stop standing and playing because they're getting into your dog's mess. Please let the dog do the business somewhere other than at the bus stop, and please pick up after your dogs. And I agree with you, you know, the kids are running from the dogs, and as they're running from the dogs, they're stepping in other dogs' stuff. And I'm quite sure nobody wants that tracked up in their house. And I also would like to just say, as far as the street lights, some of the street lights are out in the community.
Yes.
I know there's one, like going down Gordon Terrace. It's a light that's out, and there's a lot of woods over there. And, you know, we need the lights on for safety precaution. But I just want to thank you, board, for doing a great job. You know, continue to work together and be blessed.
Thank you. And thank you for board meeting and your comments at the board meeting, last board meeting, and Ms. Laverne Williams. So yes, it is obviously that there's a need for us to come out to board meetings, please. Ms. Joanna Ryan?
I'm here to represent the 250 employee owners of Bimba Manufacturing. On Thursday, I received notification about your head count tax. Knew nothing about it. There was no dialogue with us, there was no communication with us as an employer. We've been here in University Park for 40 years. Our employees are owners of the company, so you pass this tax. There's $120 out of pocket of every one of the employees at Bimba Manufacturing. And for me to get notification of this through a letter dated April 15th, demanding 5 months worth of tax is unacceptable. I left 2 messages for Mr. Lanier. Nobody called me back. All right, I talked to the Southampton Chamber of Commerce, but you need to understand this is not the way to treat businesses in University Park. You want us to pay this tax. We want to support the university. We want to support the 40 years that we've been here, but this is not the way to treat us. There was no dialogue, no information. I get this letter telling me that we're going to be charged late fees at 3% a day for not paying it on time for tax I don't know anything about.
Well, let me address this because, in fact, this tax was discussed at multiple meetings of this governmental body. It was notices were sent, to my knowledge, to every business. There was an informational form that should have been sent to your business. We asked for information before the ordinance was passed. Once the ordinance was passed, notices went out to all of the businesses. So I don't know what to say, but this is a situation in which, if you look in the minutes of the meeting, we'll be happy to provide that information to you. This was discussed publicly in many instances. Forms went out to all of the businesses that we were aware of. An informational form went out, and then the tax returns went out, and so I don't know what to say. I apologize if, in fact, we did not send this information to you, but I can assure you that, in fact, this was passed in exactly the way a tax would be passed. It is a tax identical to the head taxes that were passed in many other municipalities. And I'm sorry that you weren't aware of it, but this was paid for by dozens and dozens of businesses. So maybe Mr. Lanier has a comment, but I can tell you that this was discussed at great lengths before this board, and informational forms went out before the tax went into effect. I think we obviously have to check to see if it went to your company, but I don't know why it wouldn't have.
We got nothing. Nobody in our organization knew about this tax until last Thursday. Okay, I don't know if we were not on the mailing list. I don't know what happened, but nobody knew about it. And I look at this tax, and you need to understand that this does damage ultimately to University Park. We have a plant in Chicago, we have a plant in Rockford, we have a plant in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I look at this tax and I ask myself, why should Bimba Manufacturing stay in University Park? What are we getting for this tax? Why do you think it's okay to treat us this way? We get calls at least once a month, 10 miles east of here in Indiana, asking us to move there. This is not, as employee owners, this comes out of the pocket of every employee at Bimba Manufacturing. Because the profit sharing and the share value of the company is directly related to profits. This comes out of those employees' pockets. And I'm in a position of having to explain that to our employees and explain to the leadership of the company, and it's not good. And it's not good that Mr. Lanier doesn't see fit to return my phone calls. I left him 2 messages. I called his voicemail. It says it can't take any messages because his voicemail box is full. And the only reason I'm here is because I couldn't get any response from anybody here about this problem. Thank you.
Madam, I had actually a question for you. What was your name now?
Joanna Ryan.
Ms. Ryan, exactly how many employees from University Park do you have at Bimba Manufacturing at your location?
I don't know that number off the top of my head.
Is it more than 10?
I don't know.
Is it less than 10?
I don't know.
All right. Well, one of the things you could do to help with the, because actually when we did send out the notices, because we had at least 2 forms about this tax
I would
before it
appreciate
went to.
somebody getting back to me and letting me know
All right.
who they sent it to.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had at least 2 forms.
It didn't go to our accounting department, it didn't go to the CFO, it didn't go to human resources, so I don't know where.
We had at least 2 forms where we discussed
All I'm
this.
asking is that somebody call me back and tell me
Yeah, that's
what was
the point.
sent and when it was sent and what I'm supposed to do about this. That's all I'm asking.
I will
I
have
can't
to
be able
pay
to get the
the tax.
information except to bring it up here.
Excuse me, who's the letter, is the signature on that letter?
Signature on this letter is Mr. Lanier.
I mean, on the letter, the bottom of the letter sign, sent you the letter?
There is no signature. It just says village manager and the phone number.
No, we sent the letters out electronically and we sent them out through the mail. I'm not sure why you didn't get one. I will give you a call.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Laverne Williams, that's our last one. Could you make it short because we have passed our time?
Sorry.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Good evening, staff. Good evening, staff. Hi, University Park. My name is Laverne Williams. I had about 5 issues, so I'll run through them pretty quickly, if that's okay with you, Mayor, or do you want me to wait and do it another day?
If you have anyone to address, would you mind waiting? Because we went further 30 minutes. If you could say one.
So then-
Go ahead. You can go. I have to give you that time.
I have a concern with the high foreclosures. I would like if the board and the mayor would work with South Suburban Mayor or other entities that can help our residents not lose their homes. If you could put a program in place this year, that would be great. I would be very happy. Number 2, Plan Commission. I would like for the board, the mayor, the staff to invite the Plan Commission to any meetings that concerns construction, especially if they're public, open to the public. I think it's important that the Plan Commission get involved and just listen and hear and learn what's going on in University Park. Number 3, I'm concerned that the Education Committee is not in place, or maybe it will be in place at a later date because of the research that I've done with Creekle or the 201 district. They need us, University Park. They need us. They need us not only to help the students, whether you have parents, whether you have kids in the district or not. They need us bad. Financially, I guess. I don't know what the need is. I haven't finished my research yet, but they are in need, and I would like that education committee put back in place so we can come up with solutions and find what the real problem is. If it's just coming from our University Park, or is the problem with the 3 communities or the 4 communities that do attend that school district. We won't know until we do the research, so if you all could do that for me, that would be great. Number two, residents. How do residents get response if you don't respond at the actual meeting? Do you respond to us in an email? Do you respond back to us in a letter? I mean, how do we know what our answers are to our questions if they're not responded to at this meeting? And the last question would be the notices in regards to this young lady. How were the notices sent out? Was it certified mail? How do you know if they were really sent if it wasn't the proper way? And it's not for me to say proper, so I retract that word. If it wasn't sent certified, how can you hold this young lady accountable if the letters notifying her weren't sent certified? And I have two more, but I'll hold them for another day. Thank you very much. You all were blessed. Thank you.
I guess someone just wrote this for an announcement. Early registration for UP Lions football and cheerleading has begun. Please visit www.upyaalions.com and to register to start payment. Wherever, thank you. Okay. Discussion of unfinished business. Resolution authorizing the submission of bidding process for the operation of the village post office for town center. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table.
We table.
And the reason I'm asking for this motion to table is that there have been several requests on behalf of the board, and I know that you were supposed to make a presentation to us, to the committee, 2 weeks ago, and there was a no call, no show. And we really haven't had an opportunity to discuss it in any depth whatsoever, so we will be completely uneducated on the full content of what it is.
Okay.
Estimated cost from what you have told us may go into over $200,000 in operating our facility. So there's a motion to table.
But, okay, on that note, I have to say something here. You have had this package, twice. The presentation.
Because a motion to table is not debatable, so.
I know, I'm not trying to debate, I'm making a comment. I'm making a comment, not debating. This has been here for
May I make this
over a month.
comment? May I make this comment?
Ma'am.
Mr. Laverne just asked a question. I've asked questions. We want to know, how do you
This
answer?
discussion is out now, please, we're having a discussion, the general public is off, please.
That's what I'm talking about. You don't hear me?
Trustee, what you want to do here, we have presented this, you've had it for your reading. It's not $200,000, the attorney has read it. If there are any questions, you guys always have meetings. You had one earlier today, you could have gladly asked him that. And I talked to the post office, and I let them know, and I talked to the post office, and the post office stated that they did not come to sell this. If you either going to accept it or not, it is not $10,000, it is not $100,000. It is to our profit, the most is $1,400 here. So if they say they will not come out to make a presentation, you can read it, the attorney can read it, which he has several weeks ago. So if you want it, fine. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. You just vote it down. All we're trying to do is bring a service to the village. There's no cost.
There's a motion
We
and
will
a
make
second.
some money for it. So that's it, and that's all.
Is it proper for me to amend the motion to table to a workshop if that's what was
Yes, that's
committed to? So we can get a full understanding of what the what the parameters are for the post office.
A motion to table is not amendable, so there's a motion. Has there been a second? The clerk should call the roll.
There was a second.
Point of
There was a
order.
second.
Trustee Rudez, could you withdraw your motion?
No, sir.
And then, so that we can retable it to a workshop as opposed to just tabling it?
Well, I'm not going to rescind my motion. I'm going to ask for it to be tabled, and I'm going to ask the mayor to continue. I'm going to ask for one more time, would you please make this presentation to the Legislative and Operations Committee? You agreed in principle, and when the meeting time came, you didn't show, you didn't call.
Excuse me, but I was sick, sir. Apologize for being here.
Okay.
Okay?
There's a motion and a second.
The clerk should call the roll.
Trustee Williams? Aye. Trustee Oscar Brown? Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes out of table.
Trustee Rudez?
Votes out of table.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Votes no.
Mayor Covington?
No. Put on the minutes that we will make a workshop. Appointments to the board. Oh, you passed, I'm sorry. You did pass that?
Aye. So motion passed the table.
Appointment to the board, and I'll put it out there, I will have a table, like a demonstration for you, okay? Simple, very simple, so it shouldn't take that long. Appointments to the Board of Fire Police Commission. Is there a motion? Motion to table.
I'll second.
And the reason? Motion to table. Yeah, it's not to table. Motion to table.
Non-debatable.
I'm not asking, I'm not debating, I'm asking questions. Okay. What's the motion to table? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Williams?
Both sides.
Trustee Oscar Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
Both sides.
Trustee Rudez?
Both sides to table.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Votes no.
Mayor Covington?
No.
Motion passed the table.
Thank you. New business?
Our positions expired 4/30/14.
Well, I can comment. All existing appointments would remain in effect. Anybody who is in fact still on the board would remain on the board. So that's there may be other problems, but that's not a problem.
New business, first and second and third reading of the ordinance adopting the budget for all corporate purposes of the Village of University Park, Will and Cook Counties, Illinois, in lieu of the appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing on the first day of May 2014 and the ending of the 13th day of April 2015. Is there a motion?
So moved.
By trustees Rudez, second by trustee Griffin. Questions?
Question.
Yes, sir.
I know we were going over the budget, and we talked about making certain cuts. And I've always been of the opinion that if you're going to ask other divisions and areas of the village, then we should set an example. And I would like to make an amendment to this budget, and it has to deal with the conference meeting, training and travel budget of the trustees, and that includes the mayor, of 1,000 each, reducing each expenditure by 1,000, and to give you an example, the mayor's meeting and travel will go from 8,500 to 7,500.
No problem.
Each trustee, our travel is $4,250 per year. That go minus 1,000 would be $3,250 per trustee. And another reduction I would like. I'm on page 5 of the budget. Another reduction is in our attorney fees. Is proposed at $300,000, and I was looking for a $20,000 reduction. I'm sorry, and I believe that's it. But I'm of the opinion, always have been. If I think we should lead by example. I know it's not a lot, and by the way, I am not going to Vegas. I chose not to because I've been to these events. And you're going to get what you get. There has to be somebody here to keep watch over the village. And I don't know who else is. I think Trustee Oscar Brown is not going.
That'll be correct, trustee.
You all are very commended because it don't take all y'all go Vegas.
And I've been there. I've experienced it. I've been to one or two, and I'm just saying that. Let it be known that I will not be attending. I'd rather have any train I get to be local, which I will, if I seek out something that I believe that will interest that will help the village grow, then I will attend. I'm not looking to go to here or there and any of those things of that nature. I think there are a lot of opportunities for training regionally, and that's where I have my attention. But that's here nor there. But that is my addition to this budget.
Anyone else? Trustee Milton Payne?
Yeah, I just got a question. Manager Lanier, you indicated that this is a balanced budget. And I know from some of the discussions we had in the Finance Committee that our reserves are very poor, almost non-existent. And I was wondering if this is a balanced budget, there's no provision to increase our reserves in it, or is that part of the balance?
No, there's no provision to increase our reserves. I believe there's maybe what, a $10,000 residual of revenues over expenses.
Yeah, that was with the golf course being pretty much balanced. Now that golf course number also, because that...
Actually, it's on 34,941.
Right, so there's no real filling of the coffers for emergency purposes then, of any consequence. Yeah.
$34,941. It's on page 1 of your summary.
Okay, so another bad one, we pretty much out of line. The numbers that I saw in golf course, and I apologize I haven't had a chance to really study it because of my, problems I've been having, but the golf course number, does that number reflect both the conference center and golf operations as one?
Yes, it does.
All right, so essentially, it's being proposed as a balanced budget. Right? Is there any written narrative on the budget at all? I'm very disappointed I saw no narrative at all describing.
We have quite a few narratives that's going to be integrated into the budget. The finance director and myself discussed yesterday. We're going to integrate quite a few narratives into this. We had a lot of discussions on it. I apologize if you weren't there, because we do intend to put together a much stronger budget document this year.
Okay.
Any others? I have one. We aren't giving any raises this year, are we, Mr. Lanier?
There are increases in salaries throughout the budget, union and non-union.
No, I mean, non-union.
Yes.
You're going to give raises?
Yeah. I think it's 1.5%.
I'm looking at one.
I know one of your concerns, but we can talk about that later. I'm not quite sure what those numbers are. I talked to the finance director about it, and he told me it was a little higher than 1.5.
It looks like we're looking at right now 33% of increase in one person's salary. $17,000 increase in salary. And I don't know who does that.
No one.
I know, we're not going to. We have a consultant fee. I know we'll see that at $35 an hour we're bringing on board. And thank God you have a line item of $10,000 for a personnel person, consultant, is that correct?
The $10,000 is not for the public works consultant fee. That's in the public works line. That's $10,000 what you requested.
Right, that's what I mean for an HR.
Yes.
To cut some of this money back. Thank you for, I don't know who put this in here for the police department. I'm glad to see, because actually we have $450 actually for our truck enforcement program, and they're estimating $100,000, and that's great to see. Hoping that is a reality. I talked to Mr. Okay. Also, I had no problems. The last conference that they went to, I did not attend, for the record. And you're right, Ms. Morgan, it was $8,000 for that conference. And I did not attend that. I will be using my own personal funds for some of these, which I do anyway. To do that, so you don't know that, so I have it factually that's there. Now, you're saying 1%, in what areas are we giving increases? Whose are we giving it to? Point of order, please. Thank you. Mr. Lanier?
These are most areas that were done, you're about 1.5% increases in most of them.
Because we're paying, like, I'm looking at the salaries. Okay, of almost, what, 400,000? I looked at that, that's actually separating two salaries, that's two salaries joined together at $84,000 apiece. So, I'm hoping that, like you said, I thought we would have a narrative to this as well, kind of help us out. Sorry.
I've got a question for Attorney Diamond. I know we're backing up against the new budget year. Is it mandatory that this budget be passed today? Is it a requirement?
The answer is it must be passed before the end of this month. And I would like to just take a minute to say that the purpose of a budget is to give what your estimates are as to what you may be spending. In the event that either your revenues are lower, or that you simply decide that you don't wish to spend any of this money, or some of this money, there is no obligation in terms of passing this budget tonight that authorizes the expenditure of 5 cents. Every action by this board has to be approved in terms of your meeting schedule, in terms of approving invoices. This does provide an outline, but there have been, at the public hearing that took place on this, a number of board members said that they were definitely intending this year to try to reduce costs. And there's nothing by passing this budget that would prevent this village from, in fact, reducing the costs that are in this budget. There should be careful consideration after the budget is passed in terms of whether there are other ways to save money. But the passage of this document doesn't spend a penny of the public's money. It just authorizes the potential expenditures. In no way prevents the community from deciding to reduce any of these expenses.
And also to ask that, Attorney, that we can cut and adjust this budget at any time. Correct.
There is a process, but it's a fairly easy process. That's correct.
That's right. Clear, yes.
But again, if we do not pass it by the end of this month, we'll be in the same problem we had last year, which we do not want to get into again.
So the problem, my thing is, we can come back and address these issues. That's what I want the public to understand. We can address these issues, we can reduce it, we can increase it, so it's not like it's written in stone. We can work with this budget, okay? So is that...
Mayor?
I have something. Yes, sir. Please. Yes, question?
Okay, I don't have a question, okay, but I just want to give you some concerns of mine here within the finance department here. There were TIF dollars that were spent, $4.4 million that was spent on our bills payable. Only on our bills payable, $1.2 million was spent toward the actual TIFs within, for the businesses that are back there within the village. Now, 25% of those TIF, the revenue should have been equaled out to only $1.6 million. That was budgeted last year. So you're looking at $4.4 million that was spent, more than $4.4 million that was spent actually towards our bills payables within this village. You also have now I thought that these TIF dollars were used for the redevelopment, of our village, and not just towards our bills payable. That for some reason we seem like we have a problem with controls, of the village finances, and I think it's a concern to me, because my name is on every single financing, of this village. Devon Dilworth, the treasurer of the village, I get, mailings, you know, from the comptroller's office and just different things like that, my name is out there. You know, my accounting reputation is out there. You know, for this village. We also have, I don't see any aging reports, you know, that actually shows, you know, if, what dates, you know, that we have on our invoices, if they're 30 days out, 60 days out, 90 days out. I think that's a major concern too. We also I don't see an inventory system in place, you know, for golf and also, you know, our restaurant that's over there. Don't know the cost of goods sold, you know, for that the financing of that. So that $500,000 that we are that's at a loss right now. We really don't know if that's actually, you know, higher than that or even lower than that. I know that we actually spending more than what we should be spending, you know, as far as inventory counts that goes on over there, because, you know, according to the finance director, we have inventory counts every single month, which, you know, we should be having inventory counts every year, you know, so that's a lot of revenue that's actually coming, expenses that are coming out, you know, of our budgets. Now, I actually project that we still are going to be at a loss next year. And the reason why I say that is because that, you know, we're still 60 to 90 days out on some of our invoices, you know, for a village. I mean, you know, like I said, I don't have an aging report, you know, but, you know, by talking with the finance department, I see that we're still 60 to 90 days out on a lot of our invoices here and things that we, departments that we need to pay, you know, for the village. So, and then another thing that I see, there are a lot of discrepancies. Now, I know that the budget report is for 2013, fiscal 2013 is showing 8.9 million, but on the treasurer's report ending April 30th, 2013, it's showing 8.7 million. Now, I spoke with the finance director, and you know, I don't have any real numbers, you know, to this, but you know, that's a $153,000 discrepancy that is showing, you know, and this is the reason why that I did not sign the treasurer's report, because I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe in it because I knew that, you know, there was problems as far as the, if we did, you know, if the expenses and the revenues were correct on there, on that treasurer's report. So I really don't know if the $8.9 million is correct or that $8.7 million is correct, but those numbers should be balanced. They should be equal, and not $153,000 off. But you know, speaking to the finance director, he did say that he made some. He did go in there and actually, for each line item, he actually implemented, you know, dollars that that was missed due to on the bank recs, on the bank work reconciliation reports for back in 2013. So he did implement those dollars in there. So you know, but I didn't receive anything as far as that $153,000.
This doesn't relate to the budget. This doesn't actually, I think that you should put your concerns in writing and give them to the board, but your comments don't relate to this budget document, which is an estimate of possible expenditures next year, which needs to be passed before the end of the month.
Very quickly, we'd like to,
we'd like to clarify. One thing also is, just a second, we're still in comments here. Did your analysis, your discrepancy, take into consideration that the treasurer's report is a calendar, represents a calendar year, and our budget represents a fiscal year. So the treasurer's report goes from January through December, and our budget year goes through from May through April. And so there is a possibility, and
and the budget is an estimate,
right,
and the treasury report is an actual. So you can't compare the estimate to the
These
actual.
are actual dollars. These are actual
Budget-
dollars.
The budget shows estimated expenses of
Okay.
revenue.
It's estimated, he said.
Right, a budget, just like when we're trying to pass now, our estimate is what we anticipate happening. The treasury report is what actually did happen.
Sir, I'm looking at actual dollars here on this budget report, and it shows that in 2013, there's an actual dollar of $8.7 million.
That makes the case even
Right,
worse.
you know what?
Calendar versus fiscal.
Right. Okay, we have a second.
But you go ahead and you make your motions and things like that.
Thank you,
but
sir.
I apologize though, but I'll relay some of this information to you guys in the report.
Thank you.
Story just like I said, so thank you.
Appreciate it. There's a second to amend with inquiries that Mr. Trustee Larry Brown stated. There a second?
Second.
So this would be the motion to amend the ordinance to make the reductions that Trustee Larry Brown had. But that wasn't in his motion. But there's only one amendment at a time. So his amendment was to deal with the reduction in the expenditures and in the budget for the attorney's fees. So there's a motion and a second. There should be a roll call on the motion to amend.
Roll call now?
Okay. Trustee Williams? Okay. Trustee Oscar Brown?
Okay, question, if we vote against the amendment, can we still pass the regular budget that was proposed?
Of course.
Amen.
Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes no to amend.
Trustee Rudez?
Votes no.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Votes aye.
Mayor Covington?
Votes aye. So amended.
Trustee Williams?
I'm sorry, you need a vote? Nay. Okay. I'd like to make an amendment. To make the amendment that we do not do any raises other than the union ones. Is there a second?
Actually, we really have not talked about whether the mayor is allowed under this system to in fact vote on all matters, but historically the mayor has not been allowed to make motions. So if someone else would want to make that motion, that would be fine.
We would like to make a motion that we do not do raises. Okay. No one?
So there's a motion and a second on the main motion. There should be a roll call.
Trustee Williams?
This is a motion to pass first, second, and third readings to pass the budget ordinance.
Both sides.
Trustee Oscar
It
Brown?
is on record.
Trustee Payton?
Nay.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes aye to pass the budget.
Trustee Rudez?
Votes aye to pass the budget.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Votes no.
Mayor Covington?
No.
Got a question?
Okay. First and second and third reading ordinance amending chapters 1206 subsection 1206.02C of the codified ordinance approving the comprehensive plan ceremony.
So moved.
Second.
Excuse me, is there a motion? I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
I see it.
Okay,
And
thank
Trustee
you.
Rudez, wait a second, Mayor.
Thank you. The roll call. Any questions? I'm sorry.
I would like to make a motion to amend this from 3 readings to 1 reading, first reading only. And my reason is that I believe the process gives the public a little bit more time to scrutinize it, since it's now going to become something that we're going to go by for the next probably 5 to 7 years. I just received the official copy yesterday, and I noticed that I was on the steering committee, which I was not, and that I noticed my wife's name is spelled incorrectly also as a member of the steering committee, which she was, and so, you know, it just raises in my mind that there might be other areas that with some additional scrutiny, and I think I saw that some of the comments on the comprehensive plan, that there were a number of typos and some other things also. So I would simply ask the board to support the first reading, to give us a little bit more time to take a look at it, and so the public can take a look at it also, since they're the ones.
There's a second.
I had a question. We had a grant for this. When did we have to have this approved by?
April 30th.
April 30th.
What's the purpose? What's the reason why it has to be completed by April 30th?
It's a federal grant that was awarded to do the comprehensive plan. It's a working document, so the changes can be made, continue to be made. Actually, it can be made ongoing, but to meet the requirements, it has to be.
Oh, okay. All right, then I withdraw my motion.
Okay, thank you. Okay, roll call, please. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
I know that there are a number of typos that we do need to correct in there. I've talked to Ms. Williams and she's identified a number of them. I would be perfectly fine if you wanted to approve it with the correction of typos and such that are identified. That would, I think, address a number of your concerns and still allow it to be completed in time for the grant requirements.
Because there's some additions I think you can put in here that we're missing as well. Okay, so.
So the motion should be first, second, and third readings of the ordinance with the ability of staff to modify any typographical errors.
Your motion?
So
moved by trustee Okay. Roll call.
Trustee Williams? Trustee Oscar Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes aye with the changes.
Trustee Rudez?
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Votes aye.
Mayor Covington?
Aye.
Motion passed.
First, second, and third reading ordinance authorizing execution of intergovernmental agreement with East Union County Communications Center. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Grant, second by trustee Oscar Brown. Any questions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Oscar Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes aye.
Trustee Rudez?
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Votes aye.
Mayor Covington?
Aye. First and second and third reading ordinance, I'm sorry, where's the movement? First, second, and third reading ordinance declaring certain personal property vehicles and items in the grocery store no longer necessary for a useful 2W14 and authorizing the sale or disposal of said vehicles and items at the grocery store. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Rivera, second by trustee Griffin. Are there any questions, concerns, comments? Roll call.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Oscar Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes aye.
Trustee Rudez?
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Covington?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Resolution approving a parking ticket amnesty program for the unpaid tickets.
So moved.
Second.
I'm not sorry.
Well, I just going to ask a question. The resolution authorizes the program. It doesn't actually say what the program is.
And that's what I had questioned.
There's no attachment to the resolution that indicates what, at least in my packet, that indicated what exactly the program that is being approved.
Nor does it have any program specifications. Trustee Payton.
Yeah, Mayor, last year we had an amnesty program. Now we're proposing another amnesty program, and we extended the amnesty program last year. And I think the objective of the amnesty program was to try to get more revenue. And in my mind, you know, there are a lot of people who pay their fines on time and don't receive amnesty. And if we aggressively pursue collection of fines, then in my mind, that's the best deterrent for people not providing it, rather than every year we give them a break on it. So I would be opposed, even if there were conditions here, I would be opposed to another amnesty program.
I'm sorry, Mr. Trustee.
I'll second.
Okay, motion to table, second. Roll call.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Oscar Brown? Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
This is a motion to table, correct?
Yes.
Both sides.
Trustee Rudez?
Pass.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Vote aye.
Mayor Covington?
Aye.
Trustee Rudez?
Vote aye, and just for clarity, and the reason that we're taking this issue, because there isn't any information on how the amnesty program will work.
And Ms. Concern. And Trustee Williams.
I would like to clarify, we do have some information. In the past, when we attempted to do the amnesty program, we didn't have a collection agency at first. We brought a collection agency on board. They worked out a program. We will attach that information and bring it back before the board, sufficient time for them to review it. I actually thought there were attachments, but I understand I have that information. I apologize.
You have that ready for us by next meeting?
Yes.
Because the residents really need to have that.
Resolution seeking the aggregated remaining unused allocations of 2014 private activity bond cap, volume Capital Village, University Park, and the Illinois Finance Authority for by projects in the Chicago Southland area. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Red, second by Trustee Griffin. Is there a question,
I
concern,
have a
comment?
question. We're giving back a portion, about $713,900,000, so we can draw down further funds or more funds to the South Suburban Management.
No, what that is that we have the ability to borrow so much money each year, and when we don't make those loans, each community, they kind of sees it back to the region, so they can do a larger loan on the regional level, on bond loans.
In the event that we were in a position where in fact someone came to us and we had a project, we could then perhaps access those additional funds. So that this is an opportunity for us, since we don't have a project this year, to give them into a central fund, which we hopefully will be able to draw on in the future.
Okay. And also the fact that this is what helped us with our I-57. There was originally $10 million in there. We got $7 million for us, so that's why we be a part of this. Roll call. Any others up there? Roll call, please.
Trustee Williams?
Both aye.
Trustee Oscar Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
Both sides.
Trustee Rudez?
Vote aye.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Both sides.
Mayor Covington?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Motion to approve the contract for independent contractor services for a public work consultant. And if you have a price here, is it, how much is this an hour?
$35.
$35 an hour? Work consultant for public works. Okay. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second. Moved by Trustee
Rudez.
Rudez and second by Trustee Griffin. Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Trustee
Yeah, I am very concerned about this, Mayor, and particularly since it's a contract that extends for a year for a public works consultant. And what's really disturbing to me, and I'm sure Trustee Griffin will agree since he led the charge to terminate the employment of this particular individual, and Trustee Rudez and Oscar Brown Jr. and Liz Williams also supported that decision. I know it's not their intent, but the contract, you know, extends just past the next election. And I know they wouldn't want to make it appear that this was being political in any way, shape, or form. It would seem to me, if we're going to spend people's money like it's our money, then what we need to do is hire a public works director instead of hiring a consultant for a year, particularly for someone that we did not feel his services were warranted. So I would definitely oppose both this on the concept as well as the personnel decisions associated with it. I think it's absolutely ludicrous.
I'm sorry, Trustee Blair.
Mr. Lanier, could you just give, I would like to know, in reading this document, what the responsibilities, what the outcomes, exactly what are we doing?
Okay. As you know, we lost our Public Works Director somewhat suddenly. And we have a lot of projects that you heard about earlier today going on. But we need the expertise of someone who knows our village, knows our infrastructure, knows our roadways that we're working on, knows our street lighting and our storm sewer projects that we have working on. This individual has that, he has that knowledge base. The idea is we are in fact advertising for Public Works Director, but to avoid any hiccup and ongoing movement of these projects, we need to bring somebody in to help support the individual who we brought up through the ranks to do the day-to-day supervision. Again, the particular projects are the University Parkway projects, the stormwater projects, the street lighting throughout the village, and et cetera, those type of projects.
Yes, sir.
I mean, today we heard accolades galore regarding Robinson Engineering, and I would think, having observed how that process works with the streets and so forth, that we should be able to rely on Robinson Engineering to provide us with some expertise. But by no stretch of the imagination, in my mind, should we have a contract for somebody, contract for services for a year. The last public relations, public works director didn't have that amount of time with support, and neither did Jerry Townsend when he came in from another community.
I wish you wouldn't just talk about people's names.
Well, it's in the contract. It's in the contract. Well, I think Jerry's a great guy. But obviously, Trustee Griffin didn't feel that way because he led the charge.
Well,
so it's just beyond me on how, we're going to go ahead now and try to put him in a consultant's role for a year.
No, I want to say something here. Trustee, when we went back, if you pull the records, Trustee Payton, the mouth of the South, was on the thing too. All on record. The mouth of the South was on record. All 6. So that included you too, Mom. So back off about Trustee Griffin led the charge. You brought up the real, okay?
Yeah, I did.
All right. So moving right along.
And that's why I don't
We
support
need somebody here now, okay? So that's what we got here now, okay?
Now, excuse me, this is what I would like to see. And I mean, to me, it is sudden. And again, I don't have a problem with a consultant, but what I'd like to see exactly what it is. You just gave us an abstract of what you want this guy to do. I want to know exactly what projects that he's going to be working on. I mean, before I say okay, this is kind of like just like a blank sheet. I'd like to see exactly what it is that he's going to be asked to help us with.
He'll submit a detailed timesheet and project list every 2 weeks. He'll start immediately on the University Parkway project and on the street lighting programs.
And I appreciate you saying that, but I would like to see it in writing. That's what I want to see. I would like for this individual to present us with exactly what he's going to do. I know you say he'll give us a timestamped account of what he's doing, and that's fine. But I don't want to say it that he's just out here. He needs to have a guide. That's what I would like to see. And I don't think that's unreasonable. And before, like I said, that's what I'd like to see before I approve. I say yes to this.
Trustee,
I don't have a problem with it otherwise.
Mayor, I'd like to call the question now.
Mayor,
I second that.
Mayor, motion is on point of order. Point of order. In light of Trustee Larry Brown's comments, I would like to make a motion to table this matter.
The motion to table is in order. It's not debatable. Is there a second?
Second.
Could you clerk call the roll on the call, please?
Trustee Williams?
Nay.
Trustee Oscar Brown?
Nay.
Trustee Payton?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes no.
Trustee Rudez?
Votes no to table.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Both sides.
Mayor Covington?
I'm going to vote aye for that reason. We should have more detail. Like they want more details about post office.
Mayor, can I just ask, I drafted this contract at Mr. Lanier's request, and I would like to point out to the board that either party can cancel the agreement on 30 days prior with notice. So this is not a one-year contract that is not terminable. It can be terminated on 30 days written notice. And this is a manager form of government, and in a manager form of government, the manager, obviously, it's for the board to approve, but it's for the manager to determine the particular works. And Section 2 of this ordinance indicates that they're to be used on road projects, stormwater management, project funding, working with consulting engineers, IDOT, and various village staff assisting with street lighting projects. So there is really fair specificity as to what it is that would be included here. And again, it is cancelable on 30 days prior written notice.
Based in looking at it, for knowing the agreements, 30-day prior written, would you have justification or like you know? But this is the state of Illinois is at will, and we are home rule, and for any apparent reason we can terminate them without any type of arbitrary measures?
Well, the answer is no. The answer is this is a contract, and if it is to be terminated, it will be terminated on 30 days' notice. The individual would be entitled to the minimum amount that's specified here for the additional 30 days. It's not for any reason.
Yeah. What's also curious to me is the fact that upon submission, this is paragraph 5 of this contract, upon submission to the village manager of evidence by Townsend of membership costs in an organization or association which would assist him in the performance with the village, Townsend can receive advance payment or reimbursement up to $500 per year.
Yeah, it does say that.
Yeah, it does say that, doesn't it? Right.
Okay.
So,
But it doesn't say 1 year, and you stop misleading the people with that nonsense.
It says the term of this contract shall be for 1 year commencing May 1st, 2014. Provided, however, that either party can cancel the agreement with 30 days prior to written notice. It says the term of the contract shall be for 1 year commencing on May 1st, 2014. So it would, if the manager so elected, go for a year. And pay us $500 up to association fee. That's not spending my money like it's your money, to me. He's supposed to know what's what. And if he's only going to be a consultant, if it's only going to take us 30 to 90 days, why do we have to pay a membership for $500 for a year? I just think that's pretty curious.
Okay, so with that said, we're a roll call for, because it wasn't down at the table.
Roll call.
So roll call for, roll call.
Trustee Williams?
Accept this.
Both sides.
Trustee Oscar Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Payton?
Nay.
Trustee Griffin?
Both sides.
Trustee Rudez?
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown?
And I'm abstaining. I want to explain why. is because this whole thing is vague. I don't like voting on items that are vague. Paragraph 1, 3, and 5 are specific. Those are specific. Nothing else here is specific. Road projects, you know, I'd like to know. And I felt that it should have been part of this. Don't have a problem with Jerry Townsend. I think he's very knowledgeable. However, if we're going to spend money, we need to know where we spend. I see what you got written here: road projects, stormwater management, project funding, working with consulting engineering. That's fine. But it needs to be more. It needs to be pointed.
Next, I too like to say my reason. And I feel that we need to stop pre-selections, these positions. All pre-selections, bills fail. Just real clear on that. Attached to your approval is a list of the general operating expenses in the Village of University Park as occurred in the last 2 weeks, April 9, 2014 to April 22nd, 2014. The following funds will be charged to the following accounts. General fund operating funds are $156,030.86. Road and bridge fund is $631.97. Golf course funds is $15,259.74. MFT funds is $325. TIF 2 is $215,605.66. TIF 5 is $26,417.06. In total of $414,270.29. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Blair, second.
Yes, Mayor.
Second.
Second by trustee Larry Brown. Questions? Roll call.
Trustee Williams? Aye. Trustee Oscar Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Payton?
Aye to pay the bills.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes aye.
Trustee Hushas?
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Votes aye.
Mayor Covington?
Votes aye. Board comments, trustee Williams?
Okay. I'd just like to say that, I still don't try to work on that overpass because those traffic lights are not gonna stop the train. That's my whole thing. The train gonna still come through with red light, flashing, yellow lights. They're not gonna stop that train. And all of these things that we got from, Robinson Engineers, very, very wonderful. I'm glad to see them. And this is something else. I'm gonna be bugging you guys about helping me get this done. Just like you to know. And I appreciate that you write that letter. I like that too. Also, the GED classes are going to start back up again. Anybody who wants to get in, you still have time. So just call Jonna Townsend at Ford Townsend. And her phone number 534-4237. And she'll give you all the information from there. And that's my comments tonight. Thank you.
Trustee Oscar Brown?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for watching and viewing. I wasn't going to comment tonight, but I do want to talk a little bit about this contract that we just entered into with Mr. Johnson. He's going to be paid a minimum of 4 hours a day, $35 an hour. The village may choose to limit the number of hours that he may work for any 2-week period. That means if the manager doesn't need him for a day or two, he's not going to have to work that day or two. He's not going to get the 4-hour minimum for that day. The manager is picking his hours. The manager's going to say what he needs and what he doesn't. And he can stack up all his hours in a day. What we're getting is a person that has experience, that knows the village, that knows our roads, and we get him piecemeal. And we don't have to have him as an employee. It says specifically, no benefits. He's a strictly cash person, independent contractor. It's a win-win. Somebody with experience and somebody to help us out. So I think it's a savings. I think it was smart. I'm glad he thought of it. And keep up the good work, Mr. Manager. Also, I want to say congratulations, although no one is here from the golf course today, that the Easter brunch was excellent. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. All right, there you go. I'm sorry. The brunch was excellent. We also made a killing. I heard at least $5,000 before our receipts were counted. And when I was leaving, I left with breakfast/lunch. So I highly recommend that everybody comes out for Mother's Day. I believe that's May 13th or so this year. Oh, May 11th? May 11th. So I highly recommend that everybody come out for Mother's Day. We will have something similar, and it'll be delicious, and I will be there too. It's going to be great. So keep up the good work at the golf course. Keep up the good work with your hires. I think I'm going to leave that alone. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Just that's cool.
Thank you, Mayor. I really don't have any comments at all this evening. I said what I had to say. But I would like to just piggyback on Chief's comments about the dog. I was accosted today. No, I was not accosted, but one of the residents of University Park hit me while I was with Sam's Club about the issues that you were talking about today. And she was very upset that dogs were being permitted to defecate, on her property. And that they were frightening also her family, as well as, where they have other kids. So they should be kept on a leash. So sometimes dogs are really friendly, but we don't always know that, they make a lunge because they're enthusiastic. But so, yeah, anything that you can continue to do to try to enforce, the regulations that we have would be greatly appreciated. That's all. That's my comments.
Thank you, Trustee Griffin.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I want to say that this morning, Trustee Gutierrez and I met with the residents of Thornwood House. They had a number of issues. We met with management and management downtown, along with our police chief and Mr. Bell. And we had a lot of their concerns addressed, and that the residents were glad that we came out, and that we was taking up their calls on a number of issues. They were glad to see us. We also talked, Trustee Gutierrez and I talked to the management of Brittany Woods. They're supposed to be meeting with us again. There's some issues that still need to be addressed, and we may have to come up with ordinances on a couple of issues that they still have over there that we believe will make the village a safe place for the village. And we worked on that. Again, I'm gonna say it again. Val, Ernest, thank you so much. Thank you. And I'll say it again, you made me look good, because I had the road projects from the previous mayor, and you have brought a lot of my projects to fruition, and I appreciate it. And not only helping me, you helping the village. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. I really do. And that $29 million interchange you got, it's gonna look like a diamond shaft out there. Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that also. On the matter of the last, but on the matter of Mr. Thompson, yes, I don't throw a rock in my hand. At the time, that's what I felt. So yeah, we had an executive session, but since he brought it up and talked about it, when I can talk about personnel matter, but hey, at that time, that's how I felt. Now, we don't have a public works director. We need someone who can step in, fill the void until we get someone. So that's what we did. And I don't mind saying, yes, I did, yes. I went to Mr. Lanier and asked him about it. Yes, I did. I have no problem with saying that. We need someone to help us with these projects, to move stuff forward in this village, and that's what we're doing along with Ernest and Matt. And I appreciate you so much. You just don't know how glad you get in my heart. I swear you don't know, because it's been a long time coming. I know you say, well, I'm only doing my job. Yeah, but CMT was paid for a job too. And they didn't do nothing. So that's why I am really elated. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Those are my comments.
Mayor, I don't think I'm going to have any comments tonight, but I would like to just say one thing. Sometimes change is difficult. Sometimes change is hard to get accustomed to, but it's going to be change for the overall picture in the long run, and not just for the community and the region. I support it fully, and I ask all the residents to be encouraged and stand behind those who can make things happen to make the best quality of life to our community. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Trustee Larry Brown.
I do not have, there's a couple of things I want to say. I want to thank the chief of the police department. We talk about the dangers of the job. When an officer encounters an individual with a weapon, and it's not an air gun, it's still considered a weapon. That could have gone very badly for that kid. But what's disturbing is individuals are watching this kid walk up and down the street with this air rifle. This is called a weapon. It is a weapon. No one, the children, they saw fit to call. And like I said, I'm just going on what I hear. Now, if adults did see it and didn't do anything or say anything, then shame on all of us. But if you see something such as, especially in a situation like this, you have to say something. If you see something, say something. Call somebody. 534-0911 or 911 will get you to the communication center where you will let somebody know what's going on out here. What if, a lot of what ifs. What if that was a live weapon? There could have been some people seriously hurt. So, again, it's just another instance of how dangerous it is of patrolling, being a public servant, such as patrol. Robinson Engineering, you guys, as far as I'm concerned, you're the diamond of the state. Because you guys, unlike the past engineers we had, you should have just called them cash money engineers, because that's really all they did. They took money, and we didn't really get any result. They've been here for probably at least 10, 12 years. But you guys, like I say, keep doing what you're doing. And I think we're going to be, the results will show. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to share some of the things that I've been doing here. And I really thank Robinson Engineers because, and first of all, before I can thank you, I must give tribute to Bud Fleming. And I will not stop with that. Bud Fleming is retired. I met him in 2000, before some people was on his board. He approached me about the road project. And I know it's all good for us to say that, but in actuality, he was the one that we have to give kudos to. He told me about the money. It's $10,000 there in our funds. 10 million rather. We didn't take advantage of it in 1996. Now, Mr. Vivian, you're here. You need to jump on this right now and get that money. We went with the engineers. They said, I asked the previous engineers, what happened? They said, we didn't think you wanted it. We want it. You got to go. We got rid of them, and we came in with Robinson Engineers at that time. Bud Fleming told us it was $7 million. That was the match that we needed to make this road project happen. And it's good for everybody getting on board now, and it's great. But the kudos go to Mr. Bud Fleming for informing me of that money that was there with the South Suburban Mayor Managers. No one really knew how much it was. We are unfortunately still paying the previous engineers because they botched things. Now they're trying to hold us hostage to certain things. So I'm very, very happy for that. Robinson Engineers are always on the spot. I can call them anytime. I want to thank them for always being there for me and the board, not for me, for the Village of University Park. It's not about me, it's about University Park. Mr. Paul, the Mayor's Caucus, I'd like to thank them for the strategy we had for the infrastructure projects for the Metropolitan Mayors and Managers United. Those are other funds that we're looking at. The Stumple Road, Ed Faisal, the representative IDOT in Will County, and the strip of Stumple Road for the GSU project. I thank them for that. The Transportation Committee that I sit on that makes an influence. When we need these fundings, it made a big impact because I was on that committee. You were there as well. You made a presentation. I thank you for that. And those are the ones that how we got money in the fall on the I-57. Also, the Infrastructure Inflow of Control Program policy in public management. And the planning of the RTAUI developer panel that we were a part of, and I thank you for that. That is how we're getting some more money. There's also monies coming in for the water, the land usage. We're talking about that, which I sent to you, Robinson Engineers, and I thank you for that. So those are the projects, and these are some of the things that I do on a regular. And this is what we all work hard up here. And it's just not one of us, and it's not just for somebody, it's for all of us in the village, is what we're getting. I'd like to send kudos out to Miss Mary Williams, that is still enduring her illness. Thank God, and we continue to pray for her. I attended service with Donna Gaston. You know, her husband passed of leukemia, and she had an affair for a fundraiser this weekend. It was very, very good. And I constantly pray for her strength with her husband, and she's doing a great job with that. May 22nd, the school board is making a request for them to, some school board members are going to be here at 90 Center. I don't know the time yet, they'll be posting it, but they really want the people at University Park to come out. We've been going to that board meeting for years, and we never get 20 or even 10 people from University Park. It's always 3 of us, maybe. The city has always been there for us, and we thank you for that, Ms. Cynthia Hudson. Also, you know, it says sometimes that we make mistakes and we are entitled to that. If people would sometimes say backsliding is just like a dog going back to his vomit. And we pray that people stay strong, stand for something, you fall for everything. And I pray that you guys continue to keep us in prayer, keep us lifted up. And again, I can understand you disagreeing, but I cannot understand disrespect. With that, I would ask everyone to have a safe and blessed evening on your way home. I ask for an adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Urias, second. Trustee Griffin. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.